Hello there, my name's John and welcome to my channel if you've not been here before. If you have, welcome back. I've been asked the question a few times and people have talked about a few times about the cost of equipment for getting into photography, and can you do it on a budget, and can you get good results on a budget? Well, I think you can. Not everybody can afford high-end pro equipment, but there's a lot of equipment out there that has been used professionally which you can buy second hand, and it was fine for people to use and sell pictures a few years ago, so why not now? Well, that's what we're going to explore. How cheaply can you get into photography at a reasonable level, and the comparison between what you're going to get now with this used equipment compared to what you get with a more modern camera. If your images are going out, I don't know, wedding album size, say, up to about 10 by 8, there's not going to be a massive difference in what you're going to see. Okay. If you're looking at creating a banner from the side of an Asda truck, a 40-foot trailer, then it isn't happening with an older camera. You're not going to get the clarity maybe, but you can get some amazing results. I think one of the biggest differences you're going to see is quality of lens. That can be quite a big difference, but we're going to explore that. So a bit about my background. I've been taking photographs for fun as well as pleasure, as well as for money, for a good many years, and I've done quite a few different areas of photography as well. My hobbies, what I enjoy doing, is I like wildlife photography. I like people and places and architecture. Recently into droning and stuff like that. So yeah, quite a broad range of subjects. So let's look at the equipment that we're going to be using for this comparison, and I'll give you a rough idea of prices and what you can get this stuff for second hand, because there's absolutely no reason you don't have to buy everything brand new. Okay, especially if you're just starting out. If you buy kit that's reasonably inexpensive and you fall over it, you drop it in a muddy puddle, it's not going to matter that much, is it? Anyway, okay, so let's look at the equipment. First up, we're going to look at this side here, which is the professional standard equipment, or modern professional standard equipment. Okay, and this is the Canon R5. This is a mirrorless camera. Now, if you're new to photography, in the past, when you looked in through the lens, there was a mirror inside, and that helped you look actually through the lens of the camera. Whereas now, you're looking through and you're looking at a LCD screen inside the viewfinder, and on the back of the camera as well, there's a big LCD screen which actually folds out now on the modern camera. You can turn it around and put it on the back of the camera there. So that's the modern sort of camera. These would build the mirrorless cameras as being quite lightweight, but there's not much difference in weight between that and the other camera I'm going to show you in a moment. The menus on these are quite complicated, and if you're just getting started in photography, you're probably not going to utilise all of the bits. Now, just to give you an idea, again, back to the comparison, the price on this new can be as much as £4,300 if you go into somewhere like Jessop's. If you go online, and there are various companies, Next Day Camera, a few different places like that, where you might get that down to about 2,350. That's new. Used prices, they're not going to be that much less, because this is still quite highly sought after. Okay, they will be less, you will get cheaper ones, but they might have done a lot of work. Okay, now on this camera itself, if you're going to buy this and use the older style lenses, you'll need this extra piece and adapter. That costs you about an extra £150. So that bit sticking out from the body there, that wouldn't normally come with the camera, because there's a different set of lenses now you can get. So if I just release that to show you, that comes off, that is an adapter. Okay. Because I've been using Canon cameras for years, I've got the older lenses and I'm not changing. So that's the camera, that's the R5. Okay, and we're comparing that with this camera, which is the Canon 40D. Okay, now I've had this from you. This is described as a semi-professional camera, 10.1 megapixel, That's the size of the picture. It's the dimensions in pixels times by each other gives you the megapixels. So the R5 is 45 megapixel, this is 10.1. Sounds like a massive difference, but this is a very, very capable camera. The LCD screen on this is fixed, it doesn't fold out. Okay, it's a good size screen. It is an SLR, so when you look through this lens, there's a mirror inside here, and you look through the lens there. It's a mirror, and that's got a single lens reflex. Okay, single lens reflex. When you take a picture, the mirror flicks up quickly, it takes a picture, the mirror drops down again. Okay, so this is capable of about 6 frames a second, whereas the mirrorless camera, you don't have to use the shutters, a mechanical shutter that opens and closes to let the light in. You don't have to use that, and that can actually do 20 frames a second when you are using shutterless. So that is fast, this is a bit slower. Okay. The advantage of this one, it's not going to use up all your computer memory with pictures that are huge. In fact, when I first got this, the memory card I got with it was that one, a 16 megabyte. You could take 2 pictures on it and that was you done. So that's the 2 cameras. Now these used, do you know, whenever you're doing a video everyone starts texting you. These used, well there will be if you want better buy it new, will be around 55 to 100 pounds. Okay, 55 to 100 pounds. Now you may need to buy extra batteries, battery chargers, stuff like that if you're just buying a basic camera body, but you can buy spurious batteries. You get them on eBay. A good place for batteries for cameras, if you don't want to buy the original ones, is Duracell. Go to their website directly and you'll get a great battery for about half the price of a normal one, so maybe £40. Right, so that is the Canon 40D. The beauty of this is you've got all your manual settings, so if you're learning photography, you can learn to do it properly. Learn manual to start with. Don't just put it on automatic. Get learning the manual settings. Learn, get your creativity there. Okay, so that is the Canon 40D. Okay, so then the next thing is lenses. This is where the money can really start ramping up. So I've got the 2 closest lenses I've got from both sets. Okay, so on this side, on the cheaper side, this is an image stabilized lens. So if the things are moving about, not completely still, these lenses can help sort out a bit of camera wobble. This goes from 28mm to 135mm. Okay, and I'm comparing that, and you'll see this one looks quite a bit bigger. These are the famous L series lenses. They're very, very heavy lenses compared to them. You can always tell an L series, it's got a red stripe around it. Okay, and this lens is 24mm to 105mm. Okay, so we've got a 28 to 135 and a 24 to 105. Now, just on the cameras, go back to them. The R5 is what's called full frame, and the 40D is a crop sensor. It's a smaller image sensor, which means although these lenses have got different sizes, so we've got 24 to 105 and 28 to 135, effectively this is probably about 40mm to about 150 or something like that, because it's on a crop sensor. It makes a difference, it changes the actual millimetres of the lens. But I'm not going to go into too much detail. That's as close as I've got as these 2 lenses here. Now this is a faster lens, in other words it can take in more light. It's an f4 lens, whereas this one is I think it's an f3.5, yeah, 3.5 to 5.6. When you zoom in on one of these lenses, it changes how much light it can gather, whereas on this one it doesn't. When you zoom in on that, it doesn't change that. Okay, I'm not going to go into detail too much on that at this stage. Okay. Now price wise, the 28 to 135 is about £120 you'll get one of them for. 100 to 120 pounds, second used. They're going to be used. I don't think they actually make this one anymore. Okay. So with the camera and that, you're about £200 for those two items. Okay. The L series lens is a different story. That you're looking at £1,400 for a new one, and maybe £600 if you get lucky and get a decent second-hand one. Okay, so if you're buying the R5 at rock bottom price and that, you're up to £3,000 for that. The next thing is a bigger zoom lens, and this is one that some people call these rotten. This is the 75 to 300 zoom lens. Now I've had this for years. I bought it brand new. It's the Mark III version, and I've found it absolutely fantastic. It's a brilliant lens. It's been really good. It's not image stabilised. It's like on this lens. Let's go back to the 28 to 135. Those people say, oh, they're a bit wobbly. You know, the mechanism, but it's fine. Similar with this, when you zoom fully out, you can feel it's a bit cheaply made. It's not the best, but you're going to get that for about £100. The modern equivalent of it new would be about 230. Okay, so you could get that for about 100 quid, and it takes you up to 300mm. Now, as I said before, on this crop sensor, that's going to give you more reach. It's going to be about a 350mm lens. It's going to be quite a good one if you're out there doing wildlife. Okay, so let's move back to the pro end now, and we have this bit of a beast. I'll just take the lens hood off. A lot of these lenses will come with a lens hood, which shields it from getting stray sunlight on the end of the lens and getting what's called lens flare. The heavier lenses now have like this foot on them, this piece here. Rather than mount the camera on the tripod, you mount the lens on the tripod and the camera sits on the back of it. This is probably one of the best lenses that's ever been made by Canon, and I say that without reservation. It's a 70 to 200 Mark III lens. It's the f2.8 version. So this is a 2.8 it opens up to, and it's 2.8 across its full range, whereas this one is a 4 to 5.6. So this can gather a lot more light. Now, this is going to be a bit unfair in some respects, because if I put that on this camera, I'm only getting 200mm. This is nearly 400, so I'm going to get much better zoom for my money on this combination here than I'm going to be using this. I can put this lens on that camera, I can put this one on that camera. But anyway, I'm just trying to compare what big money is compared to something a lot cheaper, how cheap you can get set up. So, this lens is about £2,300 to buy that lens. Okay, it's not cheap. And used, you're talking about £1,300. This is where the L series lenses come in. If you look after them, you can keep them 10 years, you can still get your money back, or get at least half your money back. They are valuable lenses, they are really good. So, that is the two sets of kit that we're going to be testing out. I'm going to go out and try and get similar shots with each, and we're going to compare the images and see where we go with it. Now, if you've got any questions, and I'll try my best to answer them. Now, the channel you'll see has got lots of different videos, from everything from, I play a bit of music, musical instrument reviews, astronomy into shooting, all kinds of things. So there's all kinds of reviews on there, and there's a lot of wildlife stuff and just general stuff around the northwest. I'm based in northwest of England, so you see a lot of Manchester stuff. And I will try and answer your questions as best I can. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to get some different pictures in different places and try my best to compare these two bits of kit. But basically all I want to show is I can get some really good pictures with a couple of £100 worth of kit compared to a few £1,000 worth of kit. And if you're just getting started, this cheap kit will do. Now, I am a Canon fan, I've always had Canon, so I keep the lenses. Some of these lenses are 30 years old, they're still going strong, okay, and I can still use them. So if I had to go somewhere now where the camera might get damaged, or it's going to be a rough and tumble journey where it's dusty, whatever, I'll take the older kit, that's why I've still got it. And I can get some great results. Okay, so I'm going to start kayaking down the Amazon. I ain't taking a £4,000 camera. That would be stupid. If you enjoy the video, if this has been some use to you, I would appreciate it, and it does help if you would subscribe to the channel, share it, show it to your friends, tell other people. You can pop a like on there if you do like it, and comments are most welcome. I'll do my best to answer them. Some clips get a lot of questions and a lot of comments, but I will do my best to answer them eventually. One feature that I didn't mention before on the 40D camera is it's actually got a built-in flash, which the more professional cameras don't tend to have. I don't know why they emit it on them, but I suppose by the time you move up to the stock camera, you've probably got your own flash anyway. The flash will automatically pop up in some modes. If I push the little button there, a little zigzaggy thing, looks like a flash. If I push that, there it goes. There's the little flash, pops up, and it just pops down like that. Another feature on both these lenses are described as the shorter lenses that we're looking at, these two. These are macro lenses. Macros are getting very, very close. You can focus on something quite close. So if you need to photograph something that's quite small, you can get in close, zoom right in, and get a good image. Generally, if you want to go better than that, you want to go much, much closer. If you see sometimes a picture of a fly's face, it's going to be done usually with these rings. And literally what they do is move the camera slightly further away from, from the lens. Just moves it, just takes it away a bit. It literally is just a hole. Okay, these have got the electrical contacts on them. See the little dots, if you can see that on there. Might better see better on the back. The little row of contacts there, and what they do, they allow the lens to have all its normal features whilst it's connected through these. Now, these are genuine Canon rings, okay, close-up or extension tubes, close-up rings or extension tubes, and the smaller one there, which is a 12mm, and the bigger one is a 25. That relates to how far away from the camera it's going to take you. They can get you much, much closer than normal. Now, if you use these on a wide angle lens or a big telephoto lens, they just don't do the job. These, when they're on, you can stack them. You can put 2 or 3 together, and that gets you even closer. Eventually you get so close your object, even the photograph, is almost touching the lens. The reason I mention these, and I mention it now, is that if you're going to buy a camera to do some very, very close-up work, these are essential. Now, to give you an idea, this second hand, the small one might be £60–70, it might be 75 to 80 for the bigger one. So a set of them is going to cost you somewhere around about £100. You can get online on eBay a cheap set of 3. They're a bit rough, and my worry was that I might damage my actual camera with them. So I bought genuine Canon ones. If you're going to do a lot of close-up stuff, these are ideal, not for big money, and that does help. Okay, I've actually been out today, took a load of pictures on these smaller lenses, and tomorrow I'm going to do some with the longer focal length lenses, the telephoto ones. Okay. Okay, so I've just done the zoom test, been out with the two cameras. You might notice this one looks even bigger than it did before. I've added this piece in here. That's a 2x teleconverter, which doubles the power of the lens on its zoom, although it takes away some light, which makes it the same light gathering as this one. And because, as I explained, this is a crop sensor and this is a full frame, even though this is now a 140 to 400 zoom, and this is only a 75 to 300, it's the same in terms of, on a crop sensor, you're using just the middle part of the lens, so it's equivalent to having a bigger zoom, which you'll see on some of the pictures. I'll zoom right back and right in, you'll see how much zoom you get on each. So basically it balances it out, that's why I put this on. Okay, right, so you'll see the pictures and you can make your mind up what you think of the quality. So the conclusion, buying a very expensive camera or buying a cheap camera, you know what the differences are. You see on the pictures that where we've cropped down, we've took the picture and then zoomed right in on a part of the picture, that the R5 and an expensive lens, yes, makes a difference. It's not massive, but it does make a difference. The original question, can you buy a cheap camera, an older camera, a second-hand camera from a slightly different era, and an older lens of not the same quality as the very expensive one, and can you take professional standard pictures? Yes. Can you learn to use a good camera by getting this? Yes, you can, because this has got all the features that you need to take great pictures. This camera is a semi-professional camera. Okay, the lower the number generally in cameras, the higher the quality. By the time you get down to a 5 or something like that, then you're talking about very high end of good quality pictures. This is a 40D. I did make good money with this when I was using it. I could still take this as a backup camera to a wedding or something and it will do good pictures. Yeah, they're not going to be as good when you zoom right in, when you magnify that picture. It's not going to be quite as good as the other, but it's well acceptable imagery. Okay, it's not, you know, it's not just about megapixels. It's about taking the shot right and getting the shot set up right. But these are superb bits of kit. And again, so if you went out to do a job for somebody and you turn up with that camera body or this camera body, most people are not going to know the difference. They're really not going to know. And as you've seen from the pictures, this can do a bloody good job. I'm not sure exactly what year I bought it. It's probably around about 2010, something like that. And it's still going strong, like I say. Fabulous bit of kit, does the job. The same would be true, I suppose, if you went to a Nikon or other brand of camera, etc. You would find that a camera that was good 10 years ago, 15 years ago, will still be good now. Might not be quite as big a pictures, but it will still be good. Anyway, I hope that's been of some help to you. If you subscribe to this channel, then anything else that I do about cameras, you'll get to know as soon as it goes up. Thanks very much for watching, and look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.